Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Now, I hate to rain on the recovery summer parade, but the Fed is doing exactly what they said they wouldn't do, and we told you they would. Monetize the debt. This is very bad, and we've gotten a lot of heat in the last year and a half telling you they would do it, and they keep correcting us saying they wouldn't. In fact, let's start at the beginning. Here's Ben Bernanke promising that they would never monetize the debt.
Will the Federal Reserve monetize this debt?
The Federal Reserve will not monetize the debt.
What does that mean? That means we won't buy our own debt. The Fed has come out today and announced that they are buying up our debt, but only to prop up the housing markets. This is really, really bad. Good to see. Your word is your bond, Ben Bernanke. Oh, and in completely unrelated news, the Federal Reserve is also downgrading the U.S. economic outlook in the summer of recovery. That's some sweet recovery action right there, isn't it? But don't worry, all is not bad. Now, I don't know about you, but I noticed that Michelle was cutting corners and watching the wallet while on vacation in Spain, and I felt bad for her. You may have noticed that Dreams from My Father, her husband's book, shot up the charts after we talked about it yesterday. Before this program, it was $133,000 change on Amazon. When we just checked right before, it was at $1,203. No. Really, First Family, you don't have to say anything. No, please don't thank me. Don't thank me. I know you've got a few extra dollars in your pocket now. You don't thank me. You thank the free market. Yeah, because see, people saw something that they wanted, they went out and bought it, and now you have money. And now Mrs. Obama can afford that coat by that Spice Girl designer, and I've been worried about it. You're welcome. You're welcome. Call me. Hello, America. Isn't it amazing how much resistance something called common sense is met with today? The Tea Parties rally for smaller government, and yet they're labeled racist. They call out Congress for mortgaging our future and selling our kids into, I don't even know what their life is going to be like at this point. They are a violent threat now because they do that. Any smaller government movement is vilified. They could be holding, save cute little puppy dogs from cute puppy dog murderer rallies, and they'd still be racist hate mongers. So it stands to reason that anybody who does what I'm about to do is going to be called a hate monger. But I'm kind of used to it at this point. We're going to talk about the Ground Zero Mosque. Now, unless you've been in some sort of Twinkie-induced coma, which I hear can actually happen for the last couple of months, and don't get me wrong, I have been thinking about whisking my way, to Twinkieville. Sure I have. But there is an Islamic community center and mosque called the Cordoba Center that you need to know about. It's being built just down the street from Ground Zero. I know you've heard this. It's an emotionally charged subject. You may have seen some of the footage of the town hall meetings here in New York City where we're just a little bit more tense than maybe, Nebraska. It would be easy, as many commentators did, just to shout down the idea of building a mosque right off the bat. I haven't done that. In fact, this may be the first time that I've addressed this on television because I've had a different opinion than everyone else, and we've had things to roll up our sleeves and do. But things have changed. But I want to start at the beginning. I want to show you how I responded on radio when I first heard the news that a mosque was being built across the street from Ground Zero.
There's a variety of reasons why Glenn would support the mosque near the Ground Zero.
No, there's only one, the Constitution and the rule of law. I am offended by it. I don't want the mosque being built there. I think it's a slap across the face. If we can prove criminal activity, if we can prove that this is a radicalized mosque, if we can prove that radicals in Saudi Arabia are funding this, then that's a different story.
Okay, the context of all of that was, I believe in religious freedom. I happen to belong to a church where people get upset when you want to build a temple anywhere. You know, look, I understand neighborhoods. I understand religious freedom. We have a right to worship and practice your religion the way you wish. Trying to be a positive impact on the community at large. That is kind of a tough little loophole if your religion is saying maybe you should blow people up. So, assuming that this isn't a radicalized mosque, there's no criminal or terrorist related activity in it, and there is an update on that, stand by, you should be able to build the mosque. And I'm sorry that's not popular, but that's the way it is. We're America. But the main complaint by many Muslim groups after 9/11 was that Americans hated them. And the president said, I'm going to make sure that nobody rounds people up. Really? People have been worried about how Americans perceive Muslims. So my question has been, how does building a mosque right next to the place where radical Muslim terrorists murdered 3,000 Americans, how does that help improve the negative perception? Not really seeing the upside there, especially reopening the scar, because it comes as a slap in the face when you think, you know, wait a minute, when were they going to open that again? It doesn't sit well with Americans. It probably sits as well as a Serbian Orthodox church on the ground where 8,000 Muslims were slaughtered in Srebrenica, or what? Seriously, what is it? Srebrenica. Thank you very much. Whatever. Really? Are they going to build that there? No. Why? Because it would be a slap in the face. To describe it anything other than that is really a second slap in the face. And if they have a reason, well, I'd love to hear it. Now, here's where it starts to shimmy apart. The Cordoba Center is going to cost at least $100 million. But, quote, exactly how the Cordoba initiative will be financed remains unclear. That's probably something that we should take into consideration, don't you think? So, despite the blatant disregard for the sensitivity of the mosque location, and despite the obvious slap in the face of the dedication date, there was, for a while they were talking about they were going to open it on 9/11/01. Despite the funding source that is unknown, I think those are kind of red flags. What do you think? I still thought, because of that pesky Constitution, you should be able to build a mosque there. You can't just make up laws, okay? And that changes us as people. We've got to be decent. As long as everyone else is being decent, we don't close our eyes, however. And that's where things have changed. I read about the imam for the proposed center, Faisal Abdul Rauf. Love this cat. This is where I think the line has been officially crossed. We got all these players over here. How do they all fit together? Because, see, this is what we do. This is what media used to do. We're kind of old-timey here. We look at all of these players and say, do they fit at all? Faisal is a clear and key figure in the Perdana Global Peace Organization. Well, wow, that sounds wonderful because it's got peace right there in the name. Yeah. Abdul Rauf. He's right there on Perdana's website. See, right there's the website. Under role players and contributors. It's very nice. Perdana, the peace group, is the single biggest donor, 366,000, of the Free Gaza movement. Free Gaza. Why do I know Free Gaza? There's Free Gaza. Oh, yeah, Free Gaza. They were the key organizer of the 6-ship flotilla that tried to bust through Israel's blockade and then stabbed Israeli soldiers as they boarded the ship. And, of course, the flotilla was also helped by Hamas-supported groups, which is always good when you can say, hey, Hamas is with us too. Now, wait a minute. Let's look at all of these, because we also have Kagan over here. How is Kagan involved? Didn't our new Supreme Court Justice say that we should apply, what did she say, battlefield law to anyone suspected of financing terror groups? Didn't she say that we're not just talking about suspending Miranda rights, that you could be held indefinitely? Now, is that for people like this and this